Welcome back, everybody, to another video here on the Jurassic Park Podcast YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some of the potential routes that the crew from Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous may have taken at the end of Season 3. Now, as you know, they boarded a boat from Season 2's villains, Mitch and Tiff, and they had hopes of setting off to, I'm assuming, mainland Costa Rica. But will they actually make it there? Will they get sidetracked? What other paths could they take? Let's take a look. Okay, so let's talk about our first option, which is Costa Rica. This is where the kids ultimately want to be. Mainland Costa Rica, 120 miles away from Isla Nublar. This is the best safe haven for the kids from Camp Cretaceous. Now, we are about 6 months after the fall of Jurassic World. So that hangar that we see at the end of Jurassic World is probably vacated. There's probably no more rescue operations anymore. So the kids ultimately need to find somebody to help them, but you would assume that would be pretty easy, just, you know, going off into Costa Rica's mainland and to the shore, finding some safety. That's not a big deal. But the big deal is what is on the boat, right? So what is on the boat? That kind of throws a wrench into things. We don't know what dinosaur is on the boat with the kids. I'd like to assume it's something small, maybe like a baby raptor or something that we haven't learned about yet, but it would be interesting to see maybe this playing out in a way like Jurassic Park the novel did, where you have small lizards harming people around the coasts. So that could be an interesting way to refer back to the novel, but also continue the storyline. But ultimately, I think there are better options, more interesting options than Costa Rica. Our second option here is going back to Nublar. That's not really very fun. Let's be honest. We do not want to see them go backwards. They've already left the island. They've been trying to leave this island for 3 seasons. So in Season 4, to have them go back for some odd reason would definitely be the worst option out of the bunch. Now, surely there are reasons that could probably take them back to the island. And of course, we know that there's so many unexplored areas on Nublar that we all want to see. But I ultimately think it is time for a change of scenery. Now, this next one here is not much of a location, but it's more of an interaction. So, the kids set out into the open water. In Season 3, what happened? Do you remember? Oh yes, the beginning of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, where the mosasaur escapes into the open world, into the open sea. So the mosasaurus is out there, and I could see them having an interaction with the mosasaurus out on the open water. It would be 100% terrifying and would definitely be a very, very dire situation for the camp fam. Now, I don't necessarily think that anything bad will happen to the campers. I think, you know, ultimately they are kids and we don't want to see anything truly bad happen, but I do think something bad could happen. Maybe their boat is capsized, maybe they need rescue, something like that. It could be a pretty dire outcome for these kids if they were to interact with the mosasaurus. But even if nothing too drastic were to occur out on the open seas with the mosasaurus, the mosasaur could be the catalyst to set them off course, potentially to another island. Now, we would hope that our campers set off eastward towards mainland Costa Rica. But, you know, like I said, maybe there's something that set them off course. Maybe Kenji is reading the compass incorrectly. We already saw that set up in Season 3, that he just doesn't know how to read the compass. But, you know, maybe they have an interaction with the mosasaur that makes them lose the compass. It falls overboard, something like that. Anyway, somehow, some way, maybe they set off in the wrong direction, potentially making their way 87 miles westward towards Isla Sorna would, I think, be the best option for this show. Originally seen in the Lost World Jurassic Park and of course Jurassic Park 3, I think this island holds so many secrets and potentially a lot of lies for this franchise. It's shrouded in mystery and there are so many secrets that could be told on Isla Sorna. And according to the DPG, animals back in the day, back before Jurassic World, would have been shipped from Sorna to Nublar. vacating this island, it seems completely. So there's many excuses, whether it was for populating Jurassic World before the park opening, but also for the well-being of the creatures themselves on Sorna. There was an ever-growing mysterious threat on the island that was potentially taking out a lot of these animals, and you know, maybe that threat was the Spinosaur. There seems like there was a lot of hybrid testing going on in the early days, and maybe the Spinosaur was part of that. And it seems like, you know, maybe they shipped a lot of animals away from the Spinosaur. Now, did they take the Spinosaur to Nublar? Doesn't seem like it. Did the Spinosaur die? Potentially, but I don't think so. So we have a few options here for Sorna. The Spinosaurus could be still alive, could still be on the island, and it could be a really fun storyline for these kids to figure out the details, find out what happened after Paul Kirby sent a flare hurtling right towards the thing, setting the lagoon on fire. The story was untold. We never got the full story. Jurassic Park 3 really didn't have an ending. We never got any conclusion with the Spinosaur, so this could be our time to find out more about the Spinosaur and to close out that story. Of course, like I said, maybe they transported all the dinosaurs to Nublar, but if there were to be any island mates, you could see the Velociraptors being on that island still. Now we have a few variations of raptor. You've seen on the island specifically, you've seen the tiger raptors, you've seen the white females from Jurassic Park 3, the quilled males from Jurassic Park 3. So there's a lot of variants out there that could still be on this island, and I don't think they'd be killed off by the Spinosaur. I don't think they killed off the Spinosaur. It's possible, but I think that with those still on the island, you could have so many stories to tell there, and maybe even get a lot of details on why there are so many variants of raptor. So I do think that Isla Sorna is the best outcome for our camp family, but it is going to be a little interesting because Isla Sorna and Isla Nublar have always looked so drastically different in the film canon. Of course, between Jurassic Park and The Lost World, Sorna differentiated itself by the redwood forest style. You know, it looked like a very, very different island. Of course, Jurassic Park 3 comes around and makes it more so like a jungle atmosphere, like Nublar, so there is a little bit of confusion there. But then comes around Camp Cretaceous, and it gives Nublar a lot of that redwood style feel as well. Actually, Camp Cretaceous itself was set amongst trees just like that. So we're at a confusing standpoint here where there's not a good visual style for each of these islands, so going to Sorna would kind of just feel like they're on Nublar again. Alright, so let's further consider the current situation with a stowaway on board the boat. So what do we have on this boat? I've seen so much speculation, from a young Scorpius to a Troodon, a Baryonyx still on there. I've even heard a Hap. You know, the guy from season 2 who helped the kids at the end of the day. I don't know what could be on there. My personal feelings are that it's a baby Velociraptor. Now, how does that make any sense? Well, maybe we could figure that out. So it has been alluded to in the Jurassic World Aftermath VR game that Blue may have been able to reproduce asexually. So this is a fun concept, I think, that maybe there was a baby from Blue out there somewhere that somehow boarded this boat and could be a fun catalyst for the future of the franchise, for the show, and I would love to see this baby raptor kind of have a lot of features from the novel, where it's a very fun-loving Velociraptor baby that kind of jumps around and is very comfortable with the kids. I think that could be really, really interesting. A fun nod to the films with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, but also the novel. Plus, we have to consider that the kids left behind Bumpy. Bumpy already grew up, so Bumpy wasn't a baby anymore, but now we need something else to focus on. Maybe there could be another introduction of a baby dinosaur that the kids could cling to and could be a really fun selling point for merch and stuff like that. So I think having a baby Velociraptor could be a great idea. Either way, whatever it is, I do think that it will be a catalyst to set them off on their course for this season. Whether they discover it when they get to mainland Costa Rica, or whether it becomes a part of a larger story with maybe somebody trying to kidnap this Velociraptor, or, you know, maybe them trying to find safe haven for it. Maybe it does bring them back to Nubia to get rid of the Velociraptor. Maybe it does bring them to Sorna to drop this thing off, even though it's in the wrong direction. But whatever happens, I think it's going to be a fun catalyst to make some new stories and some interesting stories for Season 4. So our final option, and potentially our biggest option, sends our campers directly into the hands of the enemy with Manticore. So Manticore is this company from the beginning of the Camp Cretaceous story that has been trying to steal some secrets, using Sammy to try to get their way. And they've actually been a part of the larger Jurassic Park story, as it was mentioned that they have been at creating dinosaurs since before Dr. Wu created the first dinosaurs. So this is pretty interesting, and I think it's about time that they play a larger role in the overall story here. So where is Manticore? Can we find out if they are a front for Biosyn? Could they potentially help the kids if they interact with the mosasaur? Do they potentially have a base of operations on Isla Sorna for some reason? I don't know. There's so many potentials. Do they want to transport dinosaurs? Do they only want DNA? What does Manticore want? Why are they out there? They keep sending drones out, and we need to know why. So what do we think? Do you like these options? Are there any alternatives that interest you? I am very, very excited for what Season 4 could potentially bring us, so I hope you are as well. Please go follow us online, subscribe here, and be sure to listen to the Jurassic Park podcast for more content like this. Thanks, everybody.